Have you ever had a moment where you stop and think, what am I actually doing with my life?
Yeah, and not just a small doubt. I mean a deep sense of uncertainty. Like nothing feels clear anymore.
Uncertainty. That's a really important word.
Yeah, it means you're not sure about what's happening or what will happen next. And for many people, that feeling is very uncomfortable.
Exactly. And when that uncertainty grows stronger, it can turn into something bigger. You start to feel completely lost.
And the strange thing is, this feeling doesn't only come when life is bad. Sometimes you have a job, friends, a routine, and still feel lost inside.
Yeah, and usually we think that's a problem, something we need to fix immediately.
But today, we want to challenge that idea and maybe even completely change how you see this feeling.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Life English Talk podcast. I'm Julia, here with my co host, Alex.
Hey, everyone.
Today, we're discussing something many people feel but don't always talk about: feeling lost in life.
And more importantly, why feeling lost might actually be a good sign.
So, let me ask you something. Just think about it honestly. Have you ever felt like everyone else is moving forward and you're just standing still?
Yeah, that comparison can be really painful.
I think part of the problem is that people believe life should always be predictable.
Predictable, meaning everything is clear, planned, and expected.
Exactly. Like school, then job, then success. Step by step, no confusion.
But real life is rarely predictable.
Oof, not at all. And when life becomes unclear, we feel uncomfortable or even anxious.
Anxious. That feeling of worry or stress about the future.
Yes, but here's a different way to look at it. What if that anxiety is not a sign of failure?
What if it's a signal that something in your life is changing?
I really like that idea.
Let me ask you something. If someone gave you a complete plan for your life right now, every step, every decision, would you really want it?
Maybe at first, yes. It sounds safe.
But also kind of boring, right? No surprises, no growth, no discovery.
Exactly. And that brings us to an important idea. Feeling lost is often a turning point.
Totally. Turning point, it's a moment when your life starts to change direction.
And usually, before that change happens, things feel confusing.
Yeah, I actually experienced that myself.
Really? What happened?
I had just finished university, and for years, my life had a very clear structure.
Classes, exams, goals, everything was organized.
Exactly. But suddenly, that structure disappeared, and I didn't know what to do next.
That must have felt overwhelming.
It really was. Overwhelming means it felt like too many thoughts and emotions at the same time, like it was too much to handle.
So, what did you do?
At first, I enjoyed the freedom, but very quickly, that freedom turned into confusion.
Why do you think that happened?
Because I realized something uncomfortable. I didn't actually know what I wanted. Not what others expected, but what I truly wanted.
That's a difficult question for anyone.
Very. And the more I thought about it, the more stuck I felt.
Stuck. Like you want to move forward, but you don't know how.
Exactly. And I started comparing myself to others, which made everything worse.
Yeah. Social comparison can create an illusion.
Illusion is like something that appears real, but is not actually true.
Right. It looked like everyone else had everything figured out. But that wasn't necessarily reality. I had a similar experience, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but for me, it happened later. I had a job, a routine. Everything looked stable from the outside.
But something felt off?
Exactly. I felt disconnected from my own life, like I was living on autopilot.
Autopilot. Meaning you do things automatically, without really thinking.
Yes, and I remember asking myself, is this it? Is this my life?
That question is powerful.
It really is, because once you start asking it, You can't ignore it anymore.
And maybe that's the key moment, when you start to reflect.
Reflect, meaning to think deeply about your life and your choices.
Exactly. And most people don't reflect unless something feels wrong.
So feeling lost is not random.
Yes, it's actually a signal.
A signal that something inside you is evolving.
Evolving. Slowly changing or developing over time.
So you're not broken, you're changing.
Exactly. Your old life or mindset doesn't fit anymore, and that creates confusion.
But that confusion has a purpose.
Yes, it's part of growth, and growth is not always comfortable. Sometimes it feels like disorientation.
Disorientation, feeling confused about your direction or position.
Right. It feels messy, unclear, even frustrating.
But let me ask you something. What has changed in your life recently that might be causing this feeling?
That's a good question, because often the answer is already there.
Exactly. We just don't always notice it.
So instead of saying, I'm lost, maybe we can shift our perspective.
Shift your perspective, meaning change the way you see a situation.
Yes, you can say, I'm in a transition.
Transition, moving from one stage of life to another.
That already feels more positive.
It does, because it shows progress, even if it's unclear.
So what can someone actually do when they feel lost?
First, don't panic.
Easier said than done.
True, but panic makes everything more confusing.
Second, get curious instead of scared.
Curious, meaning you want to explore and understand, not just escape the feeling.
Exactly. For me, things changed when I stopped looking for perfect answers and started taking small actions.
Like experimenting with life?
Yes, trying new things, making mistakes, learning without needing a clear plan.
So clarity doesn't come first. Action comes first.
Exactly. Clarity often comes after experience.
That's such an important idea.
And here's one more question for you. What is one thing in your life right now that feels uncertain? And what could it be teaching you?
Take a moment to think about that.
Because maybe this moment of confusion is actually full of potential.
Potential. The possibility to grow or become something greater.
So maybe feeling lost is not the end, but the beginning of something new.
Exactly. Even if it feels uncomfortable now, it might be guiding you somewhere better.
Guiding, slowly showing you the way.
So if you feel lost,
Don't panic, stay curious.
because one day you might realize this was the moment everything started to change.
Before we finish, let's quickly review some useful vocabulary from today.
These words will help you talk about emotions and life situations more clearly.
Uncertainty. When you are not sure about something.
Anxious, feeling worried or stressed about the future.
Overwhelming. When something feels like too much to handle.
Stuck, when you feel unable to move forward.
Clarity. A clear understanding.
Reflect, to think deeply about something.
Evolving. Slowly growing or changing.
Transition, moving from one stage to another.
Disorientation. Feeling confused about direction.
Potential, the possibility for future growth.
Try to use these words in your daily life.
And tell us in the comments, when was the last time you felt lost? And what did you learn from it?
We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.